Captain Lee stepped off the transport pad and into a scene of barely controlled chaos. Alarms were ringing throughout the station, and alien security forces were running in all directions. The welcoming committee looked nervous and distracted. Ambassador Krell approached them with what humans would recognize as a forced smile. "Welcome to Nexus Prime honored guests from Earth," Krell said through his translation device. "I am Ambassador Krell of the Vorthak Empire. We are pleased to meet you, but I must inform you that we are experiencing some technical difficulties." Lee looked around at the running guards and flashing warning lights. "What kind of technical difficulties, Ambassador? Is there anything we can help with?" Before Krell could answer, another sound echoed through the station corridors. It was the same terrified wailing they had heard before, but louder now. The sound seemed to come from everywhere at once, carried through the station's ventilation system. Park Mina pulled out her handheld scanner and began taking readings. "Captain, I'm detecting massive stress pheromones in the air. Something on this station is very, very frightened." Dr. Yoon appeared beside Ambassador Krell, looking frazzled and confused. Her 6 arms held various tablets and instruments, all showing readings that made no scientific sense. "Ambassador, the situation is getting worse. The creature's terror levels are beyond anything we thought possible." "What creature?" Kim Dae-hyun asked, his security training making him immediately alert. Krell hesitated, then gestured toward the transparent walls that separated them from the main exhibition hall. Through the clear aluminum, the humans could see hundreds of alien beings pressed against the far walls, staring at something in the center of the room. In the middle of the hall was a flickering energy cage. Inside the cage was something that made even the hardened security chief Kim take a step backward. The Shadow Maw was magnificent and terrifying at the same time. 4 meters of muscle and claws and teeth that could easily tear apart everything in the room. But the creature was not acting like a predator. It was huddled in the far corner of its cage, as far from the humans as possible. Its 6 eyes were fixed on the small group of Earth diplomats, with an expression that could only be described as absolute terror. "That's a Shadow Maw," Dr. Yoon explained quickly. "They're the most dangerous predators in known space. We spent decades learning how to control them. Today was supposed to be the first public demonstration of our success." "Supposed to be?" Lee repeated. "What went wrong?" "You arrived," Krell said simply. The humans looked at each other in confusion. Park Mina checked her scanner again. "I don't understand. We've never encountered this species before. Earth's databases show no record of contact with anything from the Kalios system." "That's what makes this so impossible," Dr. Yoon said, her scientific excitement overriding her panic. "The moment your ship entered our system, the creature began showing signs of extreme distress. When you docked at the station, it became completely uncontrollable. Through the transparent wall, they could see the Shadow Maw pressing itself against the back of its cage with such force that the energy field was beginning to flicker dangerously. The creature's claws left deep scratches in the floor as it tried to get as far away from the humans as possible. "Field stability at 40%, announced a technician over the intercom. "We need to evacuate the exhibition hall." But Lee stepped forward instead of backward. There was something about the creature's behavior that reminded him of frightened animals back on Earth. "Ambassador, may I ask you something about these creatures?" "Where do they come from exactly?" "Kalios 7, Krell replied. "It's classified as a Class 12 Deathworld. Nothing from our galaxy can survive there for more than a few hours." Kim Dae-hyun was studying the creature carefully. His years of security training had taught him to read body language, even alien body language. "It's not trying to attack us. Look at its posture. It's trying to escape." "Escape from what?" Dr. Yoon asked. "From us," Park Mina said quietly, as understanding began to dawn on her face. "It's trying to escape from us." The implications of this hit everyone at the same time. In the exhibition hall, hundreds of beings from advanced civilizations were watching a creature that had terrorized the galaxy for decades, cowering in fear from a small group of humans with primitive technology and no weapons. "This is impossible," Director Thane of the Rigel Consortium said as she joined their group. "Shadow Maws fear nothing. They attack starships. They destroy colonies. They are the perfect predators. Perfect predators from a Class 12 Deathworld. Lee said thoughtfully. Tell me, Director, what class of world is Earth rated? Director Thane consulted her datapad, then looked up with surprise. According to our preliminary surveys, Earth is... Oh, what? Kim asked. Earth is rated as a Class 15 Deathworld, she said quietly. We've never encountered a naturally inhabited Class 15 world before. The group fell silent as they processed this information. Earth was more dangerous than the homeworld of the galaxy's most feared predators. Much more dangerous. Suddenly, the containment field gave a loud crack and began to fail completely. Warning lights flashed red throughout the hall as the energy cage flickered and died. The Shadow Maw was free, but instead of attacking the panicking crowd, the creature bolted for the nearest exit. It moved with desperate speed, smashing through emergency barriers and sealed doorways. Every step carried it further away from the humans, who had somehow terrified it beyond all reason. It's heading for the docking bays, a security officer reported. At this rate, it will reach the outer hull in minutes. The massive predator crashed through the station's corridors, leaving a trail of destruction behind it. But the destruction was not from violence or anger. It was from pure panic as the creature tried to escape from something its instincts told it was far more dangerous than anything it had ever encountered. In the exhibition hall, delegates from AO across the galaxy stared at the small group of humans who had somehow caused the impossible. The galaxy's most feared creature had taken one whiff of human scent and fled in absolute terror. The humans themselves were just as confused as everyone else. They had come expecting to be the newcomers learning from more advanced civilizations. Instead, they had somehow become the thing that made monsters afraid. The change was so sudden that Dr. Yoon almost missed it. One moment the Shadow Maw was following commands perfectly, and the next it was backing against the far wall of its cage. The creature's massive head turned toward the ceiling as if it could see through the metal and plastic to something beyond. Ambassador, Dr. Yoon called out, "We have a problem." Krell stopped his speech and looked at his chief scientist. The crowd was still applauding, but some of the closer observers had noticed the creature's strange behavior. The Shadow Maw was no longer the calm, controlled beast they had been watching. Its black scales were shifting color, becoming lighter, and mottled with gray patches. "What kind of problem?" Krell asked through his communicator, trying to keep his voice calm for the crowd. Dr. Yoon's 6 arms danced over her control panels. All systems are functioning normally, but the creature's stress levels are rising rapidly. Heart rate up 300%. Hormone production is off the charts. Something has it terrified. This should not have been possible. The neural dampeners were designed to prevent exactly this kind of reaction. The psionic controllers blocked the creature's natural fear responses. Even if something did scare it, the technology should have kept it calm and obedient. But the readings did not lie. The Shadow Maw was experiencing levels of terror that the instruments had never recorded before. Its huge claws scraped against the energy cage walls as it tried to press itself further away from something the scientists could not detect. "Run. A full diagnostic on all systems," Krell ordered. "There must be a malfunction." The Shadow Maw suddenly released a sound that made everyone in the hall stop talking. It was not the roar of an angry predator or the growl of a hunting beast. It was something much more disturbing. The creature was whimpering like a frightened animal hiding from a larger predator. In the crowd, delegates began to murmur nervously. The Rigel Consortium representatives activated their personal shields. Several Altarian warriors reached for their weapons. The peaceful demonstration was turning into something unexpected and frightening. Above them in space, the UES Harmony was requesting permission to dock. Captain Lee sat forward in his chair as the alien traffic controller's voice came through the speakers. The translation was rough, but the meaning was clear. "Earth vessel, you are cleared for docking Bay 7. Welcome to Nexus Prime. Please stand by for customs and diplomatic processing." "Acknowledged, Nexus Prime," Lee replied. "Beginning docking procedures now." The human ship moved slowly toward the station. Its primitive chemical thrusters left small trails of exhaust that mixed with the station's atmosphere recycling systems. More human scent molecules drifted through the air ducts and ventilation systems. In the exhibition hall, the Shadow Maw's behavior was becoming more erratic by the minute. The creature pressed itself against the back wall of its cage with such force that the energy field flickered. Its 6 eyes never stopped looking upward, as if tracking something invisible. Field stability down to 80%, announced one of Dr. Yoon's assistants. The creature's movements are creating resonance patterns that the generators were not designed to handle. Krell was beginning to panic, but tried to hide it from the crowd. Ladies, gentlemen, and honored delegates, we appear to be experiencing some technical difficulties. Please remain calm while we resolve this minor issue. But there was nothing minor about what they were seeing. The galaxy's most feared predator was acting like prey. The creature that had destroyed entire battle fleets was cowering in terror from something that had not even appeared yet. Park Mina was running her final equipment checks when she noticed unusual readings on her sensors. Captain, I'm detecting elevated electromagnetic activity from the station. Something has their power systems fluctuating. Could be normal operations for a station this size, Kim Dae-hyun suggested, but his hand moved closer to his weapon controls. Lee studied the readouts. The patterns did look unusual, but they were dealing with alien technology that humans barely understood. Continue with docking procedures, but stay alert. The Harmony's docking clamps engaged with the station's receiving bay. Human air mixed with alien atmospheres for the first time. The scent that had traveled through space was now being pumped directly into the station's environmental systems. Dr. Yoon watched her instruments in growing alarm. The neural dampeners were sparking and overloading. The psionic controllers were showing error messages she had never seen before. The creature's brain patterns were unlike anything in their databases. Ambassador, the containment field is becoming unstable, she reported. If this continues, we could have a breach. The crowd was no longer pretending everything was normal. Beings were backing away from the cage area. Security forces were moving into position. The carefully planned demonstration was turning into a potential disaster. But the strangest thing was that even as the Shadow Maw showed signs of complete terror, it made no aggressive moves. Usually when these creatures were frightened, they attacked everything around them. This one seemed more interested in escape than violence. What could possibly scare a Shadow Maw? Whispered Director Thane of the Rigel Consortium. These things fear nothing in the known galaxy. Her question would soon have an answer that no one in that hall could have imagined. The human diplomats were preparing to leave their ship. Captain Lee was adjusting his dress uniform while Park Mina gathered her scientific equipment. Kim Dae-hyun was checking his ceremonial sidearm. They had no idea that their very presence was causing chaos just a few levels below them. They could not know that every breath they took, every molecule of human scent they released was being detected by a creature whose species had learned to fear only one thing in all the universe. The scent of something that had climbed to the top of an even more dangerous world than their own. The smell of the ultimate predator from the ultimate Deathworld. As the humans prepared for first contact, the Shadow Maw prepared for the fight of its life against something it had never seen, but somehow knew was the most dangerous thing it would ever encounter. The neural dampeners gave one final spark and died completely. The massive hall on Nexus Prime Station buzzed with excitement. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy had come to see something that had never been done before. The great Ambassador Krell stood tall beside a glowing energy cage. His purple skin gleamed under the bright lights as he smiled at the crowd. Inside the cage was something that made even the bravest warriors step back. The Shadow Maw was 4 meters tall and covered in black scales that seemed to eat light. Its 6 red eyes glowed like burning coals. When it moved, its huge claws scraped against the floor, making sounds like metal tearing. This creature had destroyed hundreds of ships over the years. Space traders told scary stories about these beasts in dark bars across the galaxy. But today the monster sat quietly like a trained pet. Ambassador Krell held up his hand and the creature lay down. He pointed left and it turned left. He made a circle motion and the beast walked in a circle. The crowd gasped and cheered. "Look at what we have done," Krell announced, his voice carrying across the huge hall through speakers. "For the first time in galactic history, we have tamed a Class 12 Deathworld predator. No more will our ships fear these creatures. No more will colonies be destroyed by their attacks." The Shadow Maw had terrorized the galaxy for decades. These monsters came from Kaleo 7, a planet so dangerous that most species would die just breathing its air. The beasts hunted in packs and could tear through spaceship hulls like paper. Their homeworld was a place of endless storms, poisonous plants and creatures that ate metal for breakfast. Dr. Yoon Soo-hyun watched from her position near the control panels. Her 6 arms moved quickly over the screens, checking the neural dampeners and psionic controllers. Everything looked perfect. The creature was completely under their control. Years of research had led to this moment. In the crowd, delegates from every major civilization watched in amazement. The Centauri Federation representatives took notes frantically. The Rigel Consortium members whispered among themselves. Even the proud Altarian Empire seemed impressed. This breakthrough would change everything about space travel and colonization. What none of them knew was that far above them in the darkness of space, a small blue and white ship was approaching the station. The UES Harmony carried Earth's first diplomatic mission to the galactic community. Captain Lee Junho sat in his command chair reading reports about alien cultures and customs. "Captain, we are approaching Nexus Prime," said his navigation officer. "Estimated arrival in 30 minutes. Lee nodded and looked at his crew. Chief Science Officer Park Mina was studying star charts and cultural data. Security Chief Kim Dae-hyun was checking weapon systems and security protocols. They were all nervous but excited. This was humanity's first official contact with the galactic civilization. "Remember, everyone," Lee said to his crew, "we represent all of Earth today. Let's make a good first impression." The Harmony was not a large ship compared to the massive vessels of other species. Earth technology was still primitive by galactic standards. They had no energy shields or faster-than-light communications. Their weapons were simple projectile and missile systems. Most other species had moved beyond such crude tools centuries ago. But the humans were proud of their little ship. It had carried them across the solar system and beyond. Every bolt and wire had been checked and double-checked. The crew had trained for years for this mission. They knew they represented not just their government but all of humanity. As the ship drew closer to the station, Captain Lee felt a mix of excitement and worry. What would the aliens think of humans? Would they accept Earth into their galactic community? Would they see humans as primitive barbarians or as equals? These questions had kept him awake many nights during the long journey. Down in the exhibition, Hall Ambassador Krell was continuing his demonstration. He commanded the Shadow Maw to show its strength by crushing a block of titanium steel. The creature's claws sliced through the metal like butter. Then, at another command, it became gentle and allowed small alien children to approach the cage. "This technology will revolutionize galactic security," Krell explained to the amazed crowd. "Imagine fleets of controlled Shadow Maws protecting our trade routes. Picture them clearing dangerous worlds for colonization. The possibilities are endless." The crowd erupted in applause. Species that had been enemies for centuries shook hands and tentacles in celebration. This was a moment that would be remembered throughout galactic history. The day when the most feared predators in known space became tools for civilization. Dr. Yoon checked her instruments one more time. All readings were normal. The creature showed no signs of stress or rebellion. The neural conditioning was holding perfectly. The psionic dampeners were working at full efficiency. She allowed herself a small smile of satisfaction. None of the beings in that hall could have imagined what was about to happen. None of them understood that their greatest achievement was about to become their greatest confusion. The science they were so proud of was about to prove useless against something they had never encountered before. The human scent. As the UES Harmony entered the outer atmosphere of Nexus Prime, its engines created small vibrations through the station's hull. The ship's life support systems vented tiny amounts of processed air into space. Molecular traces of human presence began to drift through the vacuum toward the massive space station. Captain Lee stood on his bridge watching the alien station grow larger on the main screen. The structure was beautiful in its strange way, crystalline, towers twisted around metal cores. Gardens visible through transparent domes showed plants from a dozen different worlds. Docking bays flickered with the lights of ships from across the galaxy. "It's magnificent," whispered Park Mina as she stared at the alien architecture. "Just remember, Kim Dae-hyun said quietly. We might be the most primitive species here. Stay alert and follow protocols. Lee nodded but felt a surge of human pride. They might have simple technology, but they had heart. They had survived and thrived on a world that would kill most aliens in minutes. That had to count for something. In the exhibition hall below, the first human molecules reached the station's air recycling systems. The scent was faint, almost undetectable by any electronic sensors. But for one creature in that hall, it might as well have been a screaming alarm. The Shadow Maw's head suddenly snapped up toward the ceiling. Its 6 eyes widened. For the first time since its capture, the perfect predator looked afraid. The hull breach alarms were deafening as emergency teams raced to seal the section where the Shadow Maw had torn through the station's outer wall. Through the transparent aluminum windows, they could see the creature floating in space, tumbling away from Nexus Prime as fast as its powerful limbs could carry it. Emergency bulkheads are holding, reported the station's chief engineer. Hull breach is contained, but we have massive structural damage to sections 12 through 15. Ambassador Krill stood in the emergency command center surrounded by delegates from dozens of species, all demanding answers to the same question. What kind of beings could frighten the galaxy's apex predator so badly that it would tear through a space station just to escape them? Captain Lee and his crew found themselves at the center of attention they had never wanted. Every alien in the A command center was staring at the 3 humans as if they were some kind of dangerous animals barely held in check. Captain Lee, Director Thane said carefully, "We need to understand what happened here today. Our entire understanding of predator behavior has been turned upside down." Park Mina was studying the readings from her scanner with growing amazement. The creature's stress response was unlike anything in our databases. Its hormone levels were consistent with prey animals facing immediate death. But that's impossible, Dr. Yoon protested. Shadow Maws are never prey. They're always predators. They sit at the top of every food chain they encounter. Kim Dae-hyun had been quiet since the creature escaped, but now he spoke up. Not every food chain. Not ours. The aliens turned to look at him with expressions ranging from confusion to growing alarm. The human security chief continued his explanation. On Earth, we have creatures that could probably match a Shadow Maw in single combat. Bears that can crush cars. Cats that can leap 30 feet and bite through steel cables. Sharks that can detect a single drop of blood from miles away. And humans hunt all of these creatures, Lee added quietly. The command center fell silent except for the background noise of repair crews fixing the hull breach. The implications of what the humans were saying began to sink in among the gathered delegates. You hunt creatures like Shadow Maws, Krell asked his translator, struggling with concepts it had no words for. We used to, Park Mina explained. Before we developed agriculture and civilization, humans survived by hunting animals much larger and more dangerous than ourselves. We did it with simple tools and teamwork and intelligence, but more than that. Kim continued. We did it so successfully that we drove many species to extinction. Not accidentally, but on purpose. If something threatened us, we eliminated it completely. Director Thane's crystalline form seemed to dim as she processed this information. You're saying that humans evolved as predators specifically designed to kill other predators? Not designed, Lee corrected. We became that through necessity. Earth is a world where everything is trying to kill everything else. The only way to survive is to be better at killing than anything else around you. Dr. Yoon was frantically accessing galactic databases comparing Earth's ecosystem to other known worlds. What she found made her 6 arms tremble. According to these readings, Earth has more apex predator species per square kilometer than any world we've ever cataloged. And humans didn't just coexist with them. We conquered them, Kim finished. Every single one. The weight of this revelation settled over the command center like a heavy blanket. These 3 humans with their simple technology and primitive weapons represented something that had never existed in galactic civilization before. A species that had evolved specifically to be better predators than the predators around them. That explains the creature's reaction, Park Mina said as she continued studying her readings. Shadow Maws must have some kind of genetic memory or instinctual recognition system. Something that lets them identify potential threats. And when it got close enough to smell us, Lee said, every instinct it had told it to run, Ambassador Krell was trying to maintain diplomatic composure, but his hands shook as he accessed his own data systems. Captain, if what you're telling us is true, then humans represent something we've never encountered before. A species that evolved on a world more dangerous than Kalios 7. Much more dangerous, Director Thane whispered as she read through the Earth survey data. Kalios 7 is rated Class 12. Earth is Class 15. The difference in danger levels is exponential. Through the command center's main viewer, they could still see the Shadow Maw tumbling through space away from the station. The creature that had terrorized the galaxy was putting as much distance as possible between itself and the source of that terrifying scent. "We need to contact our governments immediately," said the delegate from the Centauri Federation. "This changes everything about galactic security." "Changes how?" Lee asked. Captain Krell said slowly, "Do you understand what Shadow Maws represent to our civilization? They're the reason we can't explore certain regions of space. They're why some trade routes are considered impossible. They're the monsters that keep entire species confined to their home systems. And they're afraid of you," Dr. Yoon added, with something approaching awe in her voice. The humans looked at each other with growing understanding. They had come to this meeting expecting to be the primitive newcomers asking for acceptance into galactic society. Instead, they were learning that their very existence represented a solution to problems that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. "How many other predator species are there?" Kim asked. "Hundreds," Director Thane replied. "Creatures that make colonization impossible. Beasts that destroy our ships and kill our people. We've spent millennia trying to find ways to defend against them. And you're telling us," Park Mina said quietly, "that they might all react the same way to human presence." The silence that followed was broken only by the sounds of repair crews, working to fix the damage caused by a terrified monster, fleeing from the scent of something even more dangerous than itself. The emergency session, convened 6 hours after the Shadow Maw incident, brought together representatives from every major galactic civilization. The Great Council chamber on Nexus Prime had never seen such attendance. Species that had been at war for centuries sat side by side, united by their shared amazement and growing concern about the implications of what they had witnessed. Captain Lee sat with his small crew at a table in the center of the chamber. Around them in concentric circles sat beings from across the galaxy. Some looked like humans with minor variations. Others were so alien that their translators could barely convey their thoughts. All of them were staring at the three people from Earth. "The session will come to order," announced High Chancellor Vex of the Galactic Council. His metallic voice echoed through the chamber's acoustic systems. "We are here to discuss the unprecedented events of today and their implications for galactic security." Director Thane activated a holographic display showing the damaged sections of the station. "As you can see, the creature designated Shadow Maw 77 caused significant damage to Nexus Prime during its escape attempt. However, analysis of its behavior patterns shows that this was not an attack but a panic response." The hologram shifted to show biological readings from the creature during its encounter with the humans. Stress hormones, fear pheromones, and neural activity all painted a picture of absolute terror. "What we witnessed," continued Director Thane, "was the galaxy's most feared predator responding to humans as if they represented an existential threat. Not just danger but complete extinction-level threat." Ambassador Krell stood to address the assembly. "Honored delegates, we have spent decades and enormous resources trying to control or contain creatures like the Shadow Maw. Our best scientists developed neural dampeners and psionic controllers. Our most advanced technology was required just to keep one creature calm for a few hours." He gestured toward the humans. "These beings accomplished something we thought impossible simply by existing in the same space as the creature." Dr. Yoon presented her scientific analysis to the assembly. Her 6 arms moved gracefully as she manipulated holographic displays showing comparative data from dozens of worlds. "Earth rates as a Class 15 Deathworld," she explained. "To put this in perspective, most of our species evolved on Class 3 or 4 worlds. Class 12 worlds like Kalios 7 are considered uninhabitable by galactic standards. We have never encountered a naturally inhabited world rated above Class 12. Until now. whispered someone in the crowd. Park Mina was given permission to address the assembly. She stood slowly, aware that every eye in the chamber was focused on her. Honored delegates, I think there may be some misunderstanding about what humans represent. She activated her own data pad and shared information about Earth's ecosystem. Our world is not just dangerous because of natural disasters or hostile environment. It's dangerous because every ecosystem is engaged in constant warfare. The holographic display showed images from Earth: lions hunting zebras, sharks attacking seals, eagles catching fish, spiders trapping flies. Every image showed one creature killing another for survival. But humans, Park Mina continued, didn't just participate in this warfare. We won it. We didn't adapt to Earth's ecosystem. We conquered it. Kim Dae-hyun stood beside his science officer. Every dangerous animal on our world has learned to fear humans. Bears run from our scent. Sharks avoid areas where humans swim regularly. We didn't just survive alongside apex predators. We made ourselves the apex predator of apex predators. The chamber was completely silent as the implications of this sank, and High Chancellor Vex leaned forward on his speaking platform. Security Chief Kim, are you saying that humans represent a threat to every predator species in the galaxy? Not a threat, Lee said as he stood to join his crew. We represent something that their genetic memory recognizes as the ultimate survivor, something that climbed to the top of the most competitive food chain in known space. And stayed there, Park Mina added. Director Thane accessed her data systems and shared the information with the assembly. We have records of over 200 major predator species that threaten galactic shipping and colonization. If they all react to human presence the way the Shadow Maw did, then humans represent the solution to our greatest security challenges, finished Ambassador Krell. The chamber erupted in excited discussions as delegates realized what this could mean. Trade routes that had been closed for decades could be reopened. Colonies that were under constant threat could be protected. Exploration missions that were too dangerous to attempt might become possible. But Lee held up his hand for quiet. When the chamber settled, he spoke carefully. Honored delegates, I want to make sure you understand something important. We didn't come here expecting to be your protectors. We came hoping to learn from your more advanced civilizations. More advanced, High Chancellor Vex repeated. Captain Lee, our civilizations are more advanced in technology, but apparently not in the most fundamental skill of survival. What humans offer, said the delegate from the Altarian Empire, is not just protection from predators. You offer something we lost long ago, the knowledge of what it means to be the ultimate survivor. Park Mina looked around the chamber at beings from dozens of worlds. We're still learning what this means ourselves. Until today, we had no idea that Earth was unusual compared to other inhabited worlds. Earth is not unusual, Dr. Yoon corrected. Earth is unique. In all our exploration of the galaxy, we have never found another world that produced a species like humanity. The weight of this revelation settled over everyone present. Humans had entered galactic society expecting to be students. Instead, they were learning that they might be the teachers the galaxy had been waiting for. There will be time for detailed discussions later, High Chancellor Vex announced. But I think we can all agree that this day has changed the fundamental nature of galactic civilization. As the session concluded, delegates began approaching the human table with offers and requests. Some wanted human advisors for their security forces. Others offered to pay enormous sums for human escorts on dangerous missions. A few simply wanted to study how humans had achieved what they had achieved. Captain Lee looked at his small crew and realized that their mission had succeeded beyond their wildest expectations. They had not just gained acceptance into galactic society. They had found their place as something the galaxy desperately needed. The Guardians who made the Guardians afraid. 3 months after the Shadow Maw incident, Captain Lee stood on the observation deck of the UES Harmony, watching human ships arrive at what had become known as Guardian Station. The facility orbited a strategic location between the Centauri Federation and the Rigel Consortium, serving as headquarters for humanity's new role in galactic affairs. The transformation had been remarkable. What started as a diplomatic mission to join galactic civilization had become something entirely different. Humanity had found its niche not as students but as protectors, the galaxy's ultimate pest control service. Park Mina joined him at the viewing port carrying a tablet full of reports. "Captain, we have confirmation from the Outer Rim colonies. The Shadowmaw pack that was terrorizing the mining operation fled the system the moment our escort ships arrived. They didn't even wait for visual contact." "How many ships requested human escorts this week?" Lee asked. 47 trade convoys, 12 exploration missions, and 6 colonization fleets, Park Mina replied. "We're going to need more ships." Through the viewport they could see the busy traffic around Guardian Station. Human vessels were small compared to the massive ships of other species, but they were in constant demand. Every major shipping company wanted human crews aboard their vessels. Every dangerous mission required human presence. Kim Daehyun approached carrying his own stack of reports. "Captain, we have 3 more requests for security consultants. The Altarian Empire wants our help clearing out a nest of crystal spiders from their research facility. The Vorthak need assistance with some kind of acid-breathing tunneling creature. And the Centauri Federation is asking for help with something they're calling a Void Stalker." "Do we know what any of these creatures are?" Lee asked. "According to the galactic databases, they're all apex predators from various Class 10 through 12 worlds," Kim replied. "Each one has been responsible for destroying colonies or research stations, and they all run when they smell humans," Park Mina added with a smile. The irony was not lost on any of them. Humanity had spent centuries dreaming of the day they would meet advanced alien civilizations and learn the secrets of the universe. Instead, those advanced civilizations were learning from humans about the most basic skill of all survival. Dr. Yoon approached their group carrying her latest research data. She had requested assignment to Guardian Station to study the phenomenon that had made humans so effective at frightening galactic predators. "Captain, I have the results from our latest tests," she announced. "We've now confirmed the reaction in 43 different predator species from 18 different star systems. The response is universal and immediate." "What exactly are they?" "Detecting," Lee asked. "It's not just scent," Dr. Yoon explained. "It's a combination of pheromones, skin oils, breath composition, and even electromagnetic signatures from human brain activity. Everything about human biology broadcasts the same message, which is," Kim prompted. "Apex predator from the ultimate Deathworld," Dr. Yoon said simply. "Every dangerous creature in the galaxy has genetic programming to recognize and avoid anything that carries those markers." Ambassador Krell's voice came over the station's communication system requesting Captain Lee's presence in the diplomatic wing. As they made their way through Guardian Station's corridors, the humans passed beings from dozens of species, all of whom stepped aside respectfully. The respect was not based on fear, but on admiration. The galaxy had learned that humans were not violent or aggressive despite their predatory nature. They were simply very, very good at survival. And in a universe full of things that wanted to kill and eat other things, being good at survival was the most valuable skill possible. In the diplomatic wing, they found Ambassador Krell meeting with a delegation from the Spiral Arm Trading Consortium. The consortium controlled shipping routes through some of the most dangerous regions of the galaxy, regions that had been largely abandoned due to predator activity. "Captain Lee," Krell greeted them, "I was just explaining to our guests how human escort services have revolutionized galactic commerce." The consortium representative, a tall being with blue-scaled skin, stepped forward. "Captain, we want to offer Earth-exclusive contracts for protection services along the outer spiral routes. The payment would be substantial enough to fund your entire space program for the next century." Lee looked at his crew. They had discussed this kind of offer many times. The galaxy was willing to pay enormous sums for human protection, but they had to be careful not to become mercenaries. "We appreciate the offer," Lee replied, "but humanity's position is that we provide protection services as part of our contribution to galactic civilization, not as a commercial enterprise." "Very noble," the consortium representative said, "but impractical. You cannot protect every trade route in the galaxy with volunteer crews." "We don't need to protect every route," Park Mina interjected. "We just need our presence to be known. Word travels fast among predator species. Once they learn,